in the criticisms made by the Catholic bishops and other church leaders recently against the government for better governance and improved service delivery to Kenyans. Speaking at ACK St. Matthew's, Church Reverend Bernard Kosgei said criticism on critical issues affecting Kenyans should be used for improvement in key sectors of the economy.
We have many communities, and it's very important for every community to work with the other so that we are able to work together as a team and not to take other communities as if they are inferior. We are all the same, irrespective of where we come from, and therefore whatever we have as a nation should be used positively so that we are able to grow a nation that is together, that is united, irrespective of various communities.
Elsewhere, leaders drawn from Nairobi County, led by Geoffrey Mosiria, have condemned a recent meeting convened by elected leaders from Gusii region over lack of inclusivity and sidelining their Nairobi-based counterparts. While championing for unity, the leaders also reiterated the importance of recognizing the role played by those in the diaspora in shaping the community's future, ensuring equal opportunities for all.
Mkutano uliofanywa na viongozi kutoka Kisii ambao wamechaguliwa. Mkutano huo katika mkutano wa sasa wa viongozi wa Nairobi, kama walikuwa wanaongelea wa Kisii, it is null and void. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Tumeingia katika serikali Mheshimiwa Rais ya broad-based government. Na sasa hapa ambapo tuko na viongozi wa mlengo wa ODM, tuko na viongozi wa mlengo wa UDA, tuko katika serikali ya muungano wa broad-based government. Na Mheshimiwa Rais umeappoint, alafu watu wanapewa viti hapa.
Learners from poor rural areas in Ukambani, whose parents struggle to pay school fees and buy uniforms, have been relieved of one burden thanks to the generosity of individuals who provided them with full school uniforms. At Kalongola Primary School, a remote institution in Kithioko-Kitui County, and several schools in Mwala Sub-County, students are set to benefit with school uniforms. Such projects are said to have played a key role in transforming the quality of education in poverty-stricken rural areas.
I was posted here since 2020. And I appreciate so much to Panjora Foundation because of bringing school uniform to my learners. At least they have reduced the cost of buying a uniform to the learners. They have also done, I also appreciate because by last term I had been sending learners home due to lack of school uniform. Now I'm sure by next year they will be stable and learning will be comfortable.
Gladys Midecha, K24 TV.
Thousands of lives are lost in situations that could otherwise be avoided by the reduction in response times, especially during emergency medical situations in the country. Robbie Omondi takes us through rescue models that address a critical need for fast, reliable emergency services and its contribution to saving lives as it aligns with global healthcare best practices.
We used to joke, but it wasn't really a joke, that the fastest Kenyan marathon runner could run a marathon and a half before you get an ambulance.
Many of us have heard about the emergency line 911. However, in Kenya, it is a dream that one day emergency response time could be reduced to what is about 162 minutes to a shorter time, and this can make all the difference.
It was a system you never thought about, as you were taught about it when you were in school. You know, the fire department or the police department would come and teach you about 911, and you hoped you never had to use it, but you never thought twice if you did. And you knew that if you called 911, you'd hear the sirens before you hung up. And so living in Kenya, I was constantly reminded. I was working in healthcare, and everyone just had a story. What if my grandfather got to the hospital faster? Or you would witness a road accident and realize that it was just completely chaotic. Everyone was surrounding, you know, a victim on the side of the road. Or you'd hear about a mother losing her life because she couldn't be moved from one facility to the next because she needed an emergency C-section.
Kathleen Dolkat is the managing director here at Rescue CO that is trying to solve the golden hour problem through technology by providing medical response using both ground ambulances and air evacuation, as well as roadside assistance, including towing, recovery, and security.
On average, we are 15 minutes in cities like Nairobi, Mombasa, even Nakuru, Nyeri, and 25 minutes in remote and rural areas, whereas fast, though, is sometimes 2 minutes. And so we really try to be there as quickly as possible. And so we cover over 2 million individuals across the country, from tourists coming into the country to individuals through their health insurance, to county governments who cover mothers and newborns, to businesses that cover their workers, or motorbike drivers. And so when they call us, they've already subscribed to the services, and so there's never a question about.
This is rescue. What's the location of the emergency? I'm here to help, but first I'll be asking a few questions. Kindly answer all of them as best as you can.
Here, we also meet Lawrence Peter, who is a shift lead here at the Rescue Response Center. Their work involves receiving emergency calls, collecting victims' details and their emergency before dispatching the nearest rescue.
And then based on that information, then we dispatch the most appropriate resource to attend to that case. And as the ambulance is en route, we also go a step further and provide medical instructions so that whoever has called, if they are able to, or even the patient themselves, can start doing some things to alleviate the situation even as they wait for the ambulance.
And even though rescue seems far, when the need arises, availability of ambulances and shift response could make it easier to save lives.
We have over 200 ambulances in Nairobi alone. Across the country, over 1,000 ambulances. It's just that every ambulance is coordinated independently. And so you as a patient would have to call literally thousands of numbers to be able to understand who is nearest to you. And you don't have time. You can't do that, in an emergency. And so we centralize all of that. We also standardize all of the care that's provided by these various ambulances to ensure that even though it's 1,000 ambulances, you have a uniform system and service that is delivered to you.
Through partnerships with counties, it is possible to turn things around when it comes to emergencies to just 12 minutes and reducing incidences such as mother and child mortality.
But if everyone pays a little bit, whether that's through social health insurance or whether that's through private insurance, it actually becomes affordable.
Robbie Omondi, K24.
The ICT Ministry has emphasized the importance of digital innovation in realizing revenue growth and driving the country's economy. Speaking in Baringo, ICT and Digital Economy Principal Secretary John Tanui said it's essential for the country to harness opportunities in the digital space to create jobs not only in technology but across all sectors, including agriculture, health and education. ICT and Digital Economy PS John Tanui, who graced the summit, terming the next frontier as one that will be driven by the digital space and that the country cannot afford to remain behind on the change sweeping across the sector. The two-day forum entailed panel discussions, workshops and networking opportunities.
30% is technology, is digital. Only agriculture constitutes 2% of the economy. You can Google and see. So if you want to see transformation, we must embrace technology. We must encourage our children to start STEM. That is where we can create value.
Export readiness. But before we even ask ourselves about export readiness, are we really satisfying the domestic market? So I think we need to begin from there.
We have 5 million youth who are not employed, and that is why we are here discussing how we can get digital jobs online for our jobs.
What we've seen is that we were left behind a bit. India, Philippines are way ahead. It's easy for them, for the young people right now that are coming up and getting these digital jobs. We're also getting there as well as a country. As in UII, what our focus is to go out there, get these jobs in bulk. And
people must speak to each other, and you can see through conversations, we exchange ideas, you gain more. I didn't know about Inua AI, now I know about Inua AI, and I'm also going to drive people towards Inua AI so they can benefit. And I hope next time we will even get to another ward, not only in town, somewhere inside, so that we can demonstrate how this works.
We are working on a possibility of doing an aggregation center for a product in each and every word.
Now, there is a need for the education system and religious institutions to embrace and include books that tell Bible stories that resonate with Africa, especially to children who are learning about the Bible. This comes from the growing reading culture that has seen parents and religious institutions call for more storybooks that resonate and guide children to read the Bible through stories that reflect more on Africa.
Washrooms just straight the hallway. Just get the name right. One of us to take.
So one major thing is we saw that if we just use the simplicity of the alphabet, we are able to explain to our young people how God and Christianity was not brought to us, but has been with us for the longest period. So this is an attempt for us to be able to speak into the things of God from a Christian and an African perspective. Yeah, so we hope this book will complement what is already being done in Sunday school. One of the key things that we want to achieve with this book is that parents at home have a resource that they can use to actually educate our young generation on what role we played as Africans.
Like when you get to letter O, it talks about an oasis when the Israelites had to stop and were being fed with manna from heaven. The place where they stopped was called Elim, and it was actually in Africa. So I think this book teaches grown-ups as well. I can tell you that there's a lot in this book. I was like, is that really true that these events happen in Africa? They are. And you see the pride in your children when they realize that the story of God happened on this very soil of Africa.
Our hope is that with time, we're able to get, so for anything to go to schools in Kenya, you must be approved through KICD, and we are currently under that process, and our desire is that this book will form part of the material that goes into our primary and high schools. So we're in the process of doing that, and we are hopeful as we begin in 2025, we'll be ready to be able to have the book go into schools.
Residents of Igorera sublocation in Bomachoge, Borabu ward are crying foul of lack of electricity for more than a month now. They say the transformer that serves them at Igorera dispensary has been faulty, forcing them to shut most of their businesses like posho mills and others that depend on electricity, further contributing to rising insecurity within the area. The most affected are candidates who are undertaking the KCSE exams since they are unable to revise at night owing to lack of power.
Hatujui kama sisi ni Wakenya au ni Wawanda.
Wakati huu wa mitihani tumekuwa na sita mingi kwa sababu transformer iliharibika na hatujawahi kukuwa na stima. Kwa sababu ya hiyo wanafunzi wetu tuko nao wengi, karibu zaidi ya 200 wenye wanafanya mtihani. Wameteseka sana kwa sababu tunajaribu kutumika generator, tunajaribu kutumika torch, mafuta ndio shida, mpaka wanafunzi kama si ukalimu wao na discipline wangekuwa wameharibu shule, kwa sababu hii ni kutengeneza maisha yao.
Hawakutuambia kitu chochote, walikuja wakaangalia hiyo stima na magari, walikuja hapa magari makubwa lakini hawakutuambia kitu chochote. Kwa hiyo sasa sisi tuko gishani.
Hii stima imetusumbua, imemaliza mwezi moja. Hii stima ilikuwa inaona kidogo kwa manyumba zetu. Imefika wakati wenyewe sasa wa Kenya bao wamekuja kuona, wametoa wires kuangalia hivi vizuri, tukafikiri tunasaidiwa stima bado. Kumbe walikuja wakachokora, wakatuachia waya zote siko nje, kila kitu yote wakatuacha mdomo wasi. Shida imekuwa shida nyingi, tusaidieni. Mheshimiwa wetu Barongo, tafadhali kama umetusikia ama umeona hapo tumeongea sisi kama watu wa Igorera, tumesema utusaidie, uwaambie Wakenya pao watusaidie tafadhali.
Follow the champions on the home of football. Watch the latest Man City content exclusively